So High Guardian Spice is finally enough to wake some people up that Crunchyroll is a lying piece of shit. And we got a lot of people on the nets exposing, you know, the bullshit and stuff. Well, guess what? Guess what? You don't even know the half of it. I could tell something was wrong a little while ago, so I did a little digging. And that's when I pulled up this article. Yeah, this thing is, as you can see, it's Crunchyroll, Right Stuff, Anime Central, and they just had this big fucking meeting where they talked about, it's basically an evil council meeting. I mean, these motherfuckers are talking about, like, how they want to just control the industry. And it's not just that. It's not just that they want to control the industry. Let me give you a quick quote from it. 日本のコンテンツ自体の話ですが、実は一点とてもずれてると感じている部分があります。それは女性に対する態度です。So he's basically saying the contents of anime itself is a big problem. He doesn't like the way it's treating women and shit. Kun Gao, yes, I shit you not, his name's Kun Gao. He is the leader of Crunchyroll right now. He founded it, he owns it. He completely agreed, and he's like saying like, oh, here's a quote from Kun Gao that he says right after that. 今は男性のディレクターやプロデューサーが多いですが、今後女性だけではなく、他のマイノリティの方が制作に携わる機会が増えれば、状況が変わってくると思います。So essentially, he is saying that there's too many men as directors and producers in the industry, and we need not just women more in the industry, we need minorities. All right, let me digest that for you. He's saying one thing at a time. First, he's saying that there's too many men in the industry. All right, what? And then he's saying we also got to get minorities in the industry. Okay. So we need to get non-Japanese people into a Japanese industry. A industry for Japanese, by Japanese, needs non-Japanese in it. That makes fucking sense. And as far as his comment about there's not enough women, like Kyoto Animation, I mean, there's tons of women that work in the fucking business, but the thing is they're actually skilled. They actually belong there. And if you thought that High Guardian Spice was, you know, the first of its kind, you know, it's not. If High Guardian Spice is a big smelly muck, then there was a slightly less smelly, slightly less grotesque sludge beast that came before it. And the name of that grimer is Urahara. And that was also a ploy to just shoehorn a bunch of people into the industry just because they're women to a production that was a complete failure. It was a mess. Urahara was a piece of shit. And let me show you this article from Crunchyroll where it's like, oh, the female creators of the Urahara anime speak out at Crunchyroll Expo. And they're talking about like, oh, we assembled all of these women on the thing and were giving us a voice, like they don't already, you know, like women aren't already in this fucking industry. Like, look at this, women in the Japanese industry panel. It's just like, and it's hilarious too, because it's like, I don't know why this fucking thing was made. First of all, it was like written and planned by this dude, Patrick Macias, or however the fuck you say that, who is a piece of shit. He is the head editor of Otaku Culture magazine, but he also has, I mean, he's got ties all over the place. He has some ties to NHK. He is senior manager of new initiatives at Crunchyroll, whatever the fuck that means. And he commissions these comics that he sort of writes. And the Urahara was based on his comic that he commissioned to get made from Mugi Tanaka, who was this, like, she was just like this not very skilled, like, doujin artist. How a 26-year-old saleswoman went from part-time artist to anime creator. So this is a big article in Forbes. What the fuck is there, you know, why is that relevant in Forbes? And it's just like about how, oh, what a coincidence. We just scooped up this, you know, doujin artist who drew mascots for her shop in Harajuku. And we wanted, it's like, oh, Patrick Macias just wanted, he was interesting, just wanted to give her a big production based on her thing. And it's just like, I don't know what their fucking game was with this thing. It's almost like they wanted to gather a bunch of women who really don't belong in the industry. Because, you know, if they were actually belong in the industry, they would have had the skills to be there, kind of like the women that are already in the industry. And it's almost like they just want to make a piece of crap so that they could give, like, maybe give them something to complain about. I don't even fucking know. I don't know what their fucking game was with this thing. But this thing was funded almost exclusively by Crunchyroll. It was, here it was. Yes, Urahara was a production collaboration between Crunchyroll and Chinese video sharing website, Bilibili. It was, yeah, that's where your subscription money went. Congrats, you funded this piece of crap show that no one cared about. And this show had a lot of advertisement. Like, oh, I saw, like, when it was airing, I saw it all over the fucking place. Meaning they were shelling out money to advertise this piece of shit. So, back to Kun Gao. I have seen a very obscure interview that was done with Kun Gao, where the dude's like fucking like fidgety as he's talking because he knows he's a slime bucket. And at the end, he proudly, nervously, but proudly says how he's controlling what the creators make with data. By giving them data and feeding them, he says, oh, with the data, we're able to control what the makers make. We're able to influence them. That means we have this just foreigner who couldn't give a fuck, just literally affecting things on a very creative level. And that's not all of it. In case you haven't noticed, Kun Gao is Korean, and I have nothing against Koreans, but Koreans have a lot against Japan. A lot. They hate Japan, all right? At least Koreans with money or who are trying to get money hate fucking Japan. They admit it. They hate Japan. Here's an article called How to Succeed in a New Market Even When You Don't Speak the Language. Crunchyroll's Kun Gao navigated a foreign business culture in a foreign country to land a life-changing partnership. So here's this fucked up, stupid comic he commissioned about how, oh, look at this. What a coincidence. He goes to Japan, he takes a risk and he gets a big deal. Tokyo, I knew exactly one person in the country, Vince Shortino, a business associate who spoke Japanese. I asked him to be my interpreter. Oh, what a lovely coincidence. Yeah, no, coincidences like that, they don't happen. This isn't natural. This was absolutely, positively some smelly shit going on. Here's an article about Vince Shortino and how he is like, he became this big part of Crunchyroll. So there's this dude who just happened to be in Japan and then becomes a huge part of Crunchyroll. Like, that does not make sense. And look at this too, look at this. Rita Wang has been promoted to VP, Japan channels. And Michelle Huang has been promoted to Senior Director, E-commerce. Alright, so he's putting Chinese and Koreans in these big positions to interact with Japan, a country they hate. And it's not even just that. Vince Shortino has actually had creative control on projects. Yes, I shit you not. Remember that piece of shit Kisniver that came out like a year or two ago or whatever and sucked fucking balls? Well, guess who was on the creative staff Vince Shortino, a businessman, was on creative staff of Kisniver. That... What? And that's not it. Urahara, the Urahara production also had a foreigner on an important part of it, Kikaku, planning, which is a very important part of the production, sometimes determines the main creative output of the work. Urahara had a name, Ming H on it, who is a Chinese man. And he founded, and he's the representative director of Children's Playground Entertainment. Like, that's not a creepy as fuck name. This motherfucker has been doing what Vince Shortino did on Kisniver with like a bunch of shit. Like, here's a non-comprehensive list of just shit that he's literally, like, look at that Kikaku planning. Like, that's an important role. Why is a businessman and a foreigner? Was a foreign businessman having creative control, important creative control, in Japanese works for a niche market? Like, this is not natural. It's almost like they don't want the creators creating their shit. And this is the thing. Crunchyroll is just, they want everything. Like in that VIPO article, I'll link that VIPO article in the description. I might do a full translation at some point. They talk about how they want power. They want control. That's what they keep saying. They're like, we need control. Like, you got like Stu Levy of Tokyo Pop, Sean Kleckner of Right Stuff, being like, oh, you know, they need to give us control because there's too many delays and we need more control so we can make the right business moves to sell the merch and stuff and all that shit. Which, speaking of which, Crunchyroll got called out for the fact that their subscription money does not go to the creators. Fucking boss, Kazuyoshi Yaginuma, he called out, he has a big Twitter thread where he just calls out Crunchyroll. It's just like, yeah, they said they're giving money to the creators, and guess what? They're not giving a fucking cent to the creators. They just strike licensing deals with these already corrupt production companies and pay them. Nothing changes. All that's happening by you giving your money to Crunchyroll is you're letting it become more and more and more of a disgusting conglomerate. Here's an article from the beginning of this year where it just talks about how, like, Crunchyroll is becoming the main investor in anime. They're becoming the main, like, money source, the main producer. Like, this was an article from a while ago, and they've gotten way bigger just this year. Like, here's an article talking about how Crunchyroll is now technically fully part as an owned by AT&T. So if AT&T, a foreign conglomerate, huge conglomerate, owns Crunchyroll, which is becoming the biggest name in anime production, that means that anime is now effectively owned, or dominated at least, by foreign interest. There was a huge incident recently that did not get enough coverage. People do not get how important this was. And it was the Nidome no Jinsei o Isekai de light novel series that got its anime canceled after it was already in production because the guy said naughty things about Chinese and Koreans in Japanese on his Twitter in Japan in his home. He said some shit, and they literally, here are the repercussions. Oh, by the way, he said this shit like 5 fucking years ago. So they dug up old stuff. They canceled his anime completely. They just destroyed it. All that work for nothing. They stopped his works from being published completely. Like, no more publishing, nothing. Take all of it out of print, take everything. They canceled his manga adaptation. They ruined this motherfucker. Just because he said some naughty stuff in a country that has nothing to do with the people he was criticizing. Japan. So, is this a coincidence that Crunchyroll, a
as Crunchyroll's getting huge and putting all these non-Japanese, Chinese and Koreans who both hate Japan, again, I have no problem with Chinese or Koreans, it's about Koreans and Chinese having problems with Japan. And is it a coincidence that as these people are getting bigger and bigger and bigger who hate Japan, that they can start destroying creators who literally did nothing wrong? They're just making their fucking work. If you didn't sympathize with this incident on the grounds that he's a trashy isekai writer, then great, you're not an otaku. But this isn't just an otaku issue. This is a human issue. If you think just because he said racist stuff, it's okay to literally destroy his career and cast his life into ruin, poison a man with atomic radiation so that no one can even associate with him anymore, then you have chosen your side on this war that is being waged on humanity and nature worldwide. And your morality system has been corrupted at a fundamental level. Now, if you go back to that VIPO article, you can see these guys are all in cahoots. And it's not just this article. If you go all over the place, you see these guys all connect. Like the Macias guy, he goes from Otaku USA editor to Crunchyroll staff. These guys are all in cahoots. You know, it's all one big circle jerk, and it's the otaku who are placed right in the center of it all. And this is beyond an otaku problem. This is a Japan problem. This is a human problem. Spread this video, spread the word, wake up, because they are coming, and they are gonna fuck anime up. They're gonna fuck everything up. In true God we trust.